A bad computer code is to blame for what some are calling the largest internet outage in history. Here's what we know tonight. The trouble began when a cybersecurity firm called CrowdStrike issued an update that affected customers using Microsoft Windows. The outage is not the result of hacking or a cyber attack.
The widespread effects, though, do range from inconvenient to severe. Some people couldn't access their bank accounts. Some hospitals had to cancel surgeries. Tens of thousands of flights were canceled or delayed. We have local team coverage of this worldwide event. Christina Gonzalez is tracking the extent of the outage in Southern California.
But let's begin at LAX, where Laura Diaz is speaking with a whole lot of frustrated passengers. I can bet, Laura.
Marla and Chris, we've been covering this story all day long, beginning with Good Day LA. I can tell you this, people have experienced a whole range of emotions, from anger to tears to, in the end, resignation.
Works out stays, so hopefully, we can go home today.
Lines were long and patience was short at United Terminal 7 Friday afternoon as travelers were left scrambling to get to their destinations. It was a massive IT failure linked to a botched cybersecurity firm's software update, knocking out computer systems. At LAX and many other airports, flights were canceled and delayed. 32-year-old Giovanna from Melbourne was desperate to get home from her Orlando vacation. She sat on a plane in Orlando for 3 hours before landing at LAX midnight, where she sat on the plane for another 2 hours. Ultimately, she spent the night in the LA terminal.
I already cried enough during the night, so just laying down in the airport for a Florian ride.
Stuck in LA was a common theme. This Cleveland couple tried to grab shut-eye in the airport Friday morning. No flights home.
Imagine, I was supposed to be in Cleveland today.
If misery loves company, there was plenty of it. This family from Sydney, Australia, in the U.S. to watch their granddaughter's softball tournament. A carefully planned itinerary tossed like a softball as they were poised to miss Sierra's first game in Nashville.
Now we don't even have any flight. We're stranded here until they can find us a flight.
It was still an improvement from very early Friday morning when LAX was jammed with people stressed with no way out.
No communication, nobody has answers.
Coming back here live to LAX, as you look over my shoulder, you can tell that it's actually not that busy right now. When I arrived here at 11 a.m., I can tell you that it was nothing but a stream of people up and down, frantically looking at their phones, trying to figure out a way to get home, or in some cases, they were trying to get to work on time. People were super upset, and most of them had had very little sleep. From what I'm able to observe now, and I don't have this officially because so far LAX has not returned my email and call, it looks to be lifting. The crisis looks to be lifting a little bit here locally. I'll have more information for you in about a half hour. Laura Diaz reporting live from LAX. Now back to you.
All right, Laura, trying to play catch up now. Thank you so much. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg happens to be in L.A. on a pre-scheduled trip as the massive outage continues to leave travelers stranded. He says his department is making sure airlines are doing their part for those passengers.
We do not consider this the way we would a weather event. This is something that the airlines are responsible for addressing, and I've been focused on making sure the airlines hear that message and know that we will be enforcing any applicable passenger protections.
Those passenger protections have expanded significantly over the last few years. We will be speaking to live on the air here at 6:30 with an air travel expert about what airlines are responsible to provide if you're in a situation like this. That's coming up on the Fox 11 News at 6.
Wasn't just airports affected by the CrowdStrike problems. We're talking banks, restaurants, healthcare facilities. They're still dealing with issues. Christina Gonzalez in Burbank with that side of the story. Christina.
Yeah, and keep in mind, because we live in earthquake country, health facilities tend to have a lot of backups, so we fared better than the rest of the country on this. Providence hospitals, including St. John's behind me, though, they're saying that last night at about 11, they all jump on board, and they've been working nonstop to make the situation as good as possible. So far, here's what we know.
We had some minor delays in some support services, lab test results, for example. and they're ironing those out. But we've got patients in and out. We've had a couple of delayed procedures. And so far, so good.
At St. John's in Burbank, only minor issues, but check out this social media post from someone saying she works at an Orange County hospital.
Computers are black. We have the screen of death. We do have wound camera phones that are iPhones, which we're allowed to give medications on, but other than that, we don't have access to patient charts.
Patients outside some facilities telling us there were delays, but nothing serious still.
Everything by computer, so
yeah,
we have to be really careful.
What do you think of all this?
You know what? Luckily, I'm not in the airport.
He's not in the airport, but he was trying to order from the Starbucks mobile app.
It's freezing.
It's freezing, yeah.
Yes.
At some Chick-fil-A's, we were told they had issues scanning customer points, so all kinds of companies were affected, with IT security experts saying,
what's happening is we're becoming dependent on these cloud-based infrastructures, cloud-based systems, or software pieces that hold our businesses together. All businesses, and even us as individuals, need to prepare for when the services aren't available.
So even if you didn't have to go to the doctor's office today or to the airport, it's something to consider. And we're going to talk more about that at 6 o'clock. At this point, no hospital closures, no emergency room closures, so going as well as it could be considering. I'm Christina Gonzalez, live in Burbank. Back to you in the studio.
Glad it's starting to make itself whole again. How's that? And that's sort of the case here at the Port of Long Beach. Things are looking closer back to normal at the Port of Long Beach, but this was the scene this morning after the tech outage impacted the port. Look at that. That massive outage led to the lines of hundreds of trucks this morning. According to the port, some of the automated terminals were completely down at one point. The port now says cargo operations are commencing normally.
LA County courts also being affected by this outage. All remote courtroom appearances were canceled and continued to a future date due to connectivity issues. And the court's call centers were down most of the day, but all courthouses and clerk offices do remain open.
As all this goes on, CrowdStrike is warning scammers are already trying to take advantage of the situation. The company says they are getting reports scammers are sending phishing emails posing as CrowdStrike support. Do not fall for it. They're also impersonating CrowdStrike staff in phone calls and posing as independent researchers offering remediation insights. They say be sure to only communicate with any CrowdStrike representatives through official channels.